Chapter 1. The 14-year-old Kawasaki KZ-1000 motorcycle sputtered again as he came off the 215 freeway. He could feel in his lower legs at least two of the four pistons slap, that is, knock against the sides of the engine's cylinders. This caused the frame to shudder. A small eddy of gray smoke rose from the tailpipe. He'd bought the motorcycle at a police auction in Tempe, Arizona, for $545. That was the majority of the $750 in cash he'd had on him. O'Connor had hoped to make it one way to the Bay Area, on the oil burner, with a few planned stops along the way to bulk up his war chest. The last time he'd been north, a job he'd run had gone wrong. But O'Connor had managed to get out whole, and there were no immediate enemies left up there from back then. The rider had been aware the piston rings were in need of replacement in the bike when he purchased the machine. Now he could barely get up a medium-grade hill, having to ride on the shoulder of the highway, lest he get run over. There was no getting farther on the bike. The Kawasaki idling roughly, he put his left foot on the ground and looked down on the lights among some darkened structures. He frowned, realizing this wasn't an artificial oasis of gas stations and Stuckey's-style roadside restaurants for the weary traveler. Below, in the near distance, was a large oval-shaped area which, he surmised, was a planned community, a subdivision housing tract out here in the Inland Empire. O'Connor checked the luminescent face of his watch. It was past 1 in the morning, and he'd been going at it steadily since 9 this morning. Only one stop for coffee and a microwaved machaca and egg burrito at 3 that afternoon. Shifting into second, he coaxed his failing machine a little farther along the road. Soon, with his headlights, he saw a sign indicating a turnoff for Rose Saffron Avenue. This would take him down to the housing tract, he hoped, as he took the veering ramp. He doubted he'd find a motel, as those types of facilities wouldn't be allowed within sight by the upright and uptight taxpayers who populated these sorts of places. The lawns would be cared for, and the backyards populated with propane-powered, shiny barbecue grills. Of course, the overhanging bougainvillea would be trimmed just so. There would also be a plentiful number of kidney-shaped swimming pools, O'Connor assumed. He almost sneered at his imaginings of such banality. Naturally, there wouldn't be a back room to rent for a night, but then certain niceties of polite society made no never mind to him. He'd manage. He always did. The Kawasaki putt-putted and stalled once, but he got it restarted and approached a guard booth on its little island, a gate beyond that. This was the main entrance to the development. In the moonlight, he could read on a wall in sweeping three-dimensional script the words Willow Ridge. They were so cool, they didn't have estates or acres in the title, he noted bemusedly. This area was in the flatlands, so why the ridge bit? But then, he wasn't in the real estate business. O'Connor stopped, and from the angle he was at, he could discern no light, like, say, from a CCTV monitor, coming from inside the guard booth. He came closer slowly, straddling his bike and walking it, figuring he'd hear a radio or a TV on low, but there was no sound from within, no sudden flashlight beam washing across his form. He peered inside and could tell the booth had been empty for some time. There was a cobweb between the inactive monitor bank and the desk. He drifted closer to the massive wrought iron gate. Beyond was a wide street that curved to the right. A few late-model cars and family vans were parked at the curb.